Butterfield albums, you want to find Hard Place in the Ground. And Hard Place in the Ground, between a Hard Place in the Ground, it's Hard Place in the Ground itself, that track is just phenomenal. Michael just starts right off, you know, he's blowing it, you know, he's already peaking, and he plays, I think, like 24 or 32 bars, and then he goes into, you know, I've had hard times in my life. People, I ain't never been so far down. I said, hard times in my life. I ain't never been so far down. Seems like life's little changes got me to a hard place in the ground. Right, well anyway, on that album, there's another song he does, it's sound familiar? It's the same riff, you know, and it's Orphan's Blues, and he does with his guitar tuning. He does what is it? Oh, I don't know where. Oh, I don't know my real name. People, I don't know where I was born. I don't know my real name. People, I don't know where I was born. I'm too old for the juvenile authorities. I'm too young for the old folks home. Now it's that same little walk down. So when you get down, you're starting on the B flat. When you hit the G here, because that's a G and that's a G, you go back to the B flat. So it's... died and left me when I was born. My papa died and he popped up and left me people, you know, when I was born, you know, it's hard out on the streets now. Sure make a young man go wrong or something. But when, you know, everything I do is Michael Bloomfield, especially if I'm playing a Telecaster. If I'm playing a Telecaster, everything I do on rhythm is Keith Richards. Everything I do on lead is Michael Bloomfield. And then when I pick up the Stratocaster, let's face it, he's the best. Everything I do is Art Cloud. You know, with a touch of Jimi Hendrix, but Jimmy was Jimmy. I also always found that, you know, I use this Tele, and yet I'm getting a similar sound as Michael did with his Les Paul, but that's because Michael would set his Les Paul on the back pickup and he would turn the tone way down, so he's muting it. So you know, it was like and I just happen to have, you know, a terrific sounding Telecaster. You know, but what I wanted guys to really know, bass players especially, and all of you, is to learn this pattern, this riff. If you do it on piano, it's a common interval. And Bruce Katz would tell you this, and of course he knows this probably since he's like 12 or 14 or something. Like I learned these guitar things from Michael, you know, at 15, 16. I first met him when I was 15 years old. I met Paul Butterfield when I was 17 years old. But the thing is, in other words, it's a common interval on the piano too, and I can play it, not well on the piano, but I can play it on the piano as well. So it's Mary Ann, if you want to do it, I've tried to do it with some really good guitar players who wanted to do Mary Ann. People were going to let me sit in, and I couldn't do Mary Ann because these esteemed bass players did not know this simple riff. Can I come home with you? Oh, Mary Ann. Get it? That's, I'm playing an F, but I'm hitting that. Mixing up too many tunes now because they all blend together with me. It's like, you know, again, if you want to play Drunk Again, it's in A, and in that case Bugsy Maw is playing, he's singing it too, by the way. I think Bugsy's singing it, but or maybe Elvin's singing it, but what I'm saying is the bass, it's actually the bass playing this. You know, I'm drunk again. I've been drinking Gordon's gin. I try to quit, but it ain't no use. You know, I just can't cut that juice. My wife is gone, and my girlfriend too. You know, I don't know what to do. Gizmo, set him up again. So it's like learn that little walk down pattern, because you'll find there's all these I've even messed around with my girl doing it like let me think, how does that begin with that first riff is? And then I've got sunshine in a cloudy day, because my girl's really based on a New Orleans riff. And when it's cold outside, you know I got the month of May. You know, I guess you'd say, what can make me feel this way, my girl? My girl. You know, but in other words, I wish I could think of more of them, but there's all these New Orleans tunes. There's another shuffle that's kind of shuffle, but you can just do so many tunes if you know this interval, this pattern of. Again, Mary Ann, it's this. Oh, Mary Ann, I want you by my side. And if you love me, darling, my love I will never hide. I can't tell you how great a guy Mike Bloomfield was, because what was he, 24, 25 years old when I met him, and me and a friend of mine and all were like 15, 16-year-old kids that just worshipped him. I mean, it must have been like seeing him, watching him. He came out and watched the Sam and Dave review with us and just marveled and kept talking about Mac Guitar Murphy and how great these guys were, Steve Cropper and Booker T. He loved. Then another time I got to see the band in 1970 on the Stage Fright tour with Michael and Art Garfunkel, and Michael just like loved Levon. Oh man, Levon's like the greatest, and then he like loved Robbie Robertson, and he's like going, oh, you know, that Robbie Robertson was like, oh, what a great guitar player, and here he was like maybe the guy. You know, or him and maybe Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton were kind of like it for quite some time, and Jeff Beck. Those were the four. There weren't all the guitar. Everybody was either some sort of an imitation or variation of them to a large extent. They were the main guitar players. But the thing is that he would take such pleasure in how good or great and the way other people played. It wasn't this cutthroat, backstabbing. I mean, I'm thrilled when I go out and hear somebody that's really good. I'm not threatened or anything else, because I'm better at being me than anybody else is. You know, I've never met anybody that did me better than me. I had an ex-wife or a girlfriend or two who thought they could do me better than me, but they couldn't. So the thing is, you know, being it was his birthday, a guy that like had the time for us and would bend over backwards, and then you wouldn't see him for 2-3 months. You're some young kid, and you bump into him, and he'd be like, "Hey, kid, man, how you doing?" And it's great. And what, you know, like I'm walking out 48th Street. I'm coming out of Port Authority one time, and there's Michael Bloomfield heading for 48th Street, walking down the street with a with his Les Paul over his shoulder without a case. And he's like, come on, you know, I'm going over to here or there. And you walk into Manny's with Mike Bloomfield? And I've done that. You know, it was just, you know, and he would talk about this guy or that guy. He would sit down and show you a riff. I mean, the blues scale I learned from, I mean, I don't want to say the guy's name, but you used to see him every night on TV playing in a band. And I said something about Rupert Sumlin's guitar playing, and the guy goes to me, "That's the blues scale, TJ." And I'm like 50-some-odd years old then, and I was like, oh, really? When Michael Bloomfield himself had taught me the blues scale when I was like 16, and the one he used is not the one that everybody else uses. It's that one. So you go down, and then you come home. So, God bless you, Michael. Who knows? I may see you again soon. Michael was a mighty, mighty angel. I wrote a great song about Mike Bloomfield after his passing, and I still can't get a bass player, a piano player, and a drummer together in the same place to record it. But that's Woodstock. You know, that's where you go to die, and you're Woodstock. That's why they call it Woodstock. So, anyway, happy birthday, Michael Bloomfield, and try and remember that little... Okay? All right. Thank you very much.